Every morning is a new birth. Before the world wakes up and demands your attention, you must first awaken your inner clarity. What you say to yourself in the first hour after rising becomes the architecture of your day and, over time, your life. In the Shaolin tradition, we train the body. In Zen, we train the mind. But what is the most neglected training of all? The training of speech, especially the speech you use toward yourself. So as the sun rises, you must not only open your eyes, you must also open your inner dialogue. Here are 8 powerful truths to affirm to yourself softly, silently, but with unwavering faith every morning. I am alive, that is already enough. I do not chase peace, I awaken to it. I have time to grow, my journey is unfolding. I choose presence over pressure. I release what I cannot control. I trust the timing of my life. My thoughts do not define me, my awareness does. Today I will act with intention, not impulse. These phrases are not motivational quotes. They are mental anchors, spiritual disciplines, and reminders of your true self beyond ego, fear, and comparison. You are not here to win the race. You are here to walk your path with honor, clarity, and awareness. Speak to yourself as a monk would speak to a student, with respect, patience, and quiet strength. The way you speak to yourself in the morning is not a small or casual act, it is a deeply spiritual one. It is, in essence, the first agreement you make with reality each day, before the world has the chance to tell you who you are, what you lack, or what you must achieve. You have a window, a sacred moment to define your inner climate. And in that brief moment, your words become architects. They build the frame through which you will see the world. Shi Heng Yi reminds us, everything begins with the inner world. A calm mind does not arise from a chaotic dialogue. If you begin your day with criticism, impatience, or dread, these energies will not only shape your mood, but also inform your actions, your decisions, your energy, and your relationships. This is why monks, warriors, and spiritual practitioners of all disciplines protect the first hour of their day. They guard it like a flame. They understand what you repeat to yourself in the quiet moments becomes your subconscious truth. And your subconscious truth becomes the script for your behavior. When you wake and declare to yourself, I am alive, that is already enough. You are performing a powerful act of spiritual alignment. You are reminding yourself that your value is not based on productivity, approval, or control. You are returning to the core realization that being itself is a gift, not a task. This perspective counters modern conditioning. Society often trains us to wake up already running, chasing goals, checking messages, comparing achievements. But from the Shaolin perspective, this is the beginning of internal war. The chaos of the outer world infects the inner temple. To speak to yourself kindly in the morning is not just emotional hygiene, it is a warrior's discipline. It requires awareness to interrupt the automatic patterns of fear or pressure and instead insert conscious words like seeds: calm, present, intentional, rooted. This practice is not a one-day event. It is a daily training, a sharpening of your internal sword. Just as the body must be trained through repetition, so must the mind and the tongue. You must train yourself to speak words that nourish, ground, and remind you of who you are when everything else is silent. So when you open your eyes, do not rush. First, return to your breath, then return to your truth. And then, with full sincerity, speak the words, I am alive, that is already enough. Not as a motivational phrase, but as a spiritual declaration. In the modern world, motivation is worshipped. It's often seen as the fuel for success, the emotional spark that gets you moving. Everywhere you turn, you're told to stay motivated, hustle harder, or push yourself. But Shi Heng Yi and the Zen traditions from which his wisdom flows teach us a different truth. Motivation is fleeting, awareness is eternal. Motivation is a wave, powerful but unstable. One day it's there, and the next it's gone, leaving behind guilt, frustration, and inertia. But awareness' true presence is not an emotional high, it's a state of clear seeing. It is the still lake beneath the waves of motivation and emotion. That's why the second thing you must tell yourself every morning is this: I do not chase peace, I awaken to it. This statement is not a pep talk. It's a correction to the inner habit of chasing something that is already within you. When you wake up in the morning, your mind might immediately want to do something. It might search for a reason to get up, an outcome to achieve, or an emotion to create. This is the conditioned habit of modern life, always chasing, always doing, always striving, but the Zen path begins with being, not doing. When you say, I do not chase peace, you're breaking the loop of restlessness. You're reminding yourself that peace is not a distant goal. It's not something waiting at the end of a checklist. It's not a reward you earn after you finish your tasks. It is already here, but only if you're still enough to notice it. This is awareness, the quiet, alert presence that sees clearly without resistance, without expectation. Awareness does not need to be pumped up like motivation. It needs only to be uncovered like the sun behind the clouds. Shi Heng Yi often speaks of returning to simplicity, to silence, to breathe, to direct experience. In that simplicity, awareness arises naturally, and from that awareness comes a deeper kind of motivation, one that isn't driven by fear or ego, but by truth. When you wake up and say, I awaken to peace, you are choosing to step into the day with clarity instead of chaos, with mindfulness instead of momentum. You are shifting from emotional reaction to conscious presence. And that shift from chasing peace to awakening to peace is where true strength lives, because a person who is calm and aware does not need to be constantly motivated. Their energy is not pushed by force, it flows from center. Their actions do not come from pressure, they come from purpose. So in the morning, before the world pushes you to run, prove, or perform, return to awareness. Don't stir the surface of the water. Just sit, breathe, observe, and remember, you were never missing peace. You were simply moving too fast to feel it. In a world that demands urgency, rapid success, and instant transformation, telling yourself, I have time to grow, my journey is unfolding, is a quiet rebellion and a deep spiritual truth. Growth today is often seen through the lens of speed. How fast can you level up? How soon can you achieve your goal? How quickly can you change your body, your mind, your life? But this obsession with velocity breeds a deep, quiet tension inside, the constant feeling that you are behind, that you must hurry, that you're running out of time, that everyone else is ahead of you. Shi Heng Yi, drawing from the ancient Shaolin and Zen teachings, reminds us, nature does not rush, and yet everything is accomplished. The bamboo plant is a powerful symbol of this. For years, it appears not to grow at all. It stays hidden beneath the surface, developing a strong root system in silence. Then, suddenly, it shoots up, growing meters in weeks. But the visible rise would not have been possible without the invisible work done in darkness. Your life is no different. When you affirm each morning, I have time to grow, you are choosing to trust the process rather than panic at the pace. You're shifting from the energy of striving to the wisdom of unfolding. Growth, especially spiritual growth, is not linear. It spirals, it deepens, it often involves returning to old wounds with new understanding. There are seasons of rapid change and seasons of stillness. Both are sacred. Too often, people judge their progress by visible outcomes, but Zen teaches that the invisible realm, your discipline, your awareness, your patience, is where the true transformation takes place. When a tree is growing, it doesn't shout. When a mountain forms, it does so without noise. You don't need external proof to validate your internal journey. By telling yourself, my journey is unfolding, you are reminding yourself that the path is alive. It is not a fixed map with straight lines and milestones. It breathes with you. It meets you where you are. And sometimes the most profound growth happens when it looks like nothing is happening at all. In this practice, you begin to honor your rhythm instead of comparing it to someone else's timeline. You begin to respect the days where you feel lost, tired, or unsure, not as failures, but as part of the unfolding. Like the lotus, which must root itself in the mud before blooming into sunlight, your discomfort is part of the transformation. Shi Heng Yi teaches that when we rush, we miss the essence. When we rush, we train the mind to believe that we are not enough until we've arrived. But when we accept that growth takes time, we relax into the now. And when we relax, we open the space where real development happens slowly, deeply, and with intention. So when you wake and you feel behind, pause. Breathe, say to yourself with conviction, I have time to grow. My journey is unfolding. Not as a way to escape effort, but as a way to return to the present, because only in the now can anything truly grow. Every morning, the mind awakens not just to light, but to weight. The weight of to-do lists, the weight of expectations, the weight of unfinished tasks, future worries, social comparisons, and unspoken fears. This weight often begins to press on you before you've even gotten out of bed. And most people surrender to it, automatically stepping into a day dictated not by presence, but by pressure. Shi Heng Yi teaches that the greatest discipline is not in doing more, but in doing one thing completely. Not in being everywhere, but in being exactly where you are. When you affirm, I choose presence over pressure, you are making a conscious decision to take back control of your attention, to live from awareness rather than from urgency. You are recognizing that the pressure you feel is not always external. Often it is self-created, born from an inner voice that whispers, you're not doing enough, you're not fast enough, you're not good enough. That voice is the fruit of years of conditioning. Society rewards productivity, multitasking, speed, and output. But Zen and the Shaolin path teach something radically different, that true mastery comes from depth, not speed, from stillness, not stress. To choose presence means to step fully into the now, not with resistance, not with rush, but with openness. When you drink tea, drink tea. When you breathe, just breathe. When you walk, just walk. Sounds simple. But in practice, it takes incredible awareness because the mind always tries to run ahead. Pressure pulls you into imagined futures. Presence pulls you into what is actually real, this breath, this movement, this task, this moment. And it is only in presence that life becomes rich. Pressure turns life into a task. Presence turns life into an experience. When you begin your morning with this affirmation, you are not rejecting responsibility. You are rejecting the unnecessary suffering created by unconscious urgency. You are saying, I will still do what needs to be done, but I will do it calmly, attentively, and without punishing myself. Shi Heng Yi often reminds his students, you can move fast and still be present, but if you are not present, even your stillness becomes restless. It's not about doing less, it's about being more while doing it. Being more aware, more grounded, more intentional. Presence is not laziness, it is the highest form of inner discipline. It means you resist the pull to react, to rush, to scatter. It means you take the reins of your mind and choose depth over distraction. So when your day begins and the world demands you to go faster, louder, harder, pause, come back to yourself, anchor your attention, and remind your mind, today, I choose presence over pressure. Because a present mind is not only more peaceful, it is more powerful. Control, it is one of the great illusions we cling to, often without even realizing it. From the moment we wake up, our minds begin crafting invisible checklists. Control how the day unfolds, control how others treat us, control our success, control the outcome of every effort, every interaction, every plan. But as Shi Heng Yi teaches, control is not power, awareness is, and part of awareness is recognizing the simple truth. Much of life is beyond your grasp. When you affirm in the morning, I release what I cannot control, You are not giving up, you are letting go. You are loosening your grip on what was never meant to be held so tightly. You are not resigning, you are surrendering to reality, and that is an act of wisdom. In Buddhism, one of the primary sources of suffering is attachment, especially attachment to control. The desire to manipulate, fix, predict, and force outcomes creates tension, resistance, and anxiety. It's like holding sand in a clenched fist. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. By beginning your day with this affirmation, you remind yourself that peace does not come from dominating life, but from dancing with it moment by moment, breath by breath. The weather will change. People will disappoint you, plans will shift, uncertainty will arise, but none of these are within your domain of control. What is? Your breath, your attention, your response, your attitude. Shi Heng Yi often draws the line between reaction and response. When you try to control everything, you live in a state of chronic reactivity. But when you release what you cannot control, you return to the seat of response, calm, deliberate, and clear. This release is not passive. It's not saying, I don't care. It's saying, I care enough not to suffer over what I can't change. It means recognizing the boundary between effort and attachment. You still show up. You still work. You still serve, love, lead, create. But you let go of the need to script the result. Just as the archer draws the bow and releases the arrow, their responsibility ends at the release. Where the arrow lands is no longer in their hands. So it is with life. This mindset is especially powerful in the morning because it clears the mental clutter. It removes the false responsibility for everything that is beyond your influence. It helps you distinguish between the essential and the external, where you can take meaningful action and where you must simply allow things to be. By saying, I release what I cannot control, you are unburdening your spirit. You are stepping into the day not as a victim of unpredictability, but as a practitioner of clarity. You are not fighting reality, you are flowing with it. And in that flow, there is freedom, there is strength. There is peace, because life is not meant to be controlled, it is meant to be met with presence, effort, and surrender, all at once. Time is one of the greatest sources of human anxiety, not time itself, but our relationship with it. The belief that we must reach certain milestones by a certain age, that success must happen quickly, that healing should be fast, that we're too early, too late, or somehow not where we're supposed to be. This invisible pressure, fed by comparison, culture, and ego, becomes a quiet torment in the background of our lives. But Shi Heng Yi reminds us, nature is never in a hurry, and yet everything happens exactly when it should. When you say to yourself in the morning, I trust the timing of my life, you are practicing spiritual alignment with a truth far greater than your plans. Life unfolds on its own schedule, not based on your fears, not based on external expectations, but based on your deeper growth and unseen readiness. This trust is not passive or blind. It is a cultivated inner knowing that your journey is unique and sacred. It's the deep breath that silences the clock ticking in your mind. It's the surrender that says, even if I don't understand the delays, the detours, or the droughts, I trust they are shaping me in ways I cannot yet see. Shi Heng Yi often speaks about divine rhythm, the idea that there is an intelligence to the unfolding of your life. Just as you cannot force a flower to bloom before its time, you cannot force your destiny to arrive before you are fully prepared to receive it. And sometimes preparation doesn't look like progress. It looks like waiting, like stillness, like testing, like endurance. To trust the timing of your life is to understand that not all movement is visible. There are seasons beneath the surface, lessons taking root in silence, internal strength being forged through delays, losses, or unexpected changes. When you try to rush this process, you miss the depth that was meant to be developed within you. Comparison, especially in the digital age, poisons this trust. You see others rise faster, shine brighter, succeed younger, and the mind begins to panic. Why not me? What am I doing wrong? I should be further along. But the Zen mind does not measure itself against others. It simply asks, am I present? Am I honest? Am I still walking my path? Morning is the perfect time to reset your relationship with time. Instead of starting the day in a race against the clock, start with reverence. Instead of seeing time as something to outrun, see it as something to walk beside. You are not behind. You are not early. You are exactly where you are meant to be, because this is where life has placed you for your next unfolding. This mindset allows for peace in the process. You can set goals, you can work hard, but beneath it all, there is a quiet confidence. What is meant for me will come, and it will come when I am truly ready to hold it. Just as the moon doesn't rush through its phases, and the tide rises when it must, so too does your life follow its own mysterious rhythm. The more you fight time, the more suffering you create. The more you trust it, the more spacious, joyful, and alive you become. So as you rise with the morning light, speak these words not as hope, but as certainty. I trust the timing of my life. The mind is an endless storyteller. Every moment it generates thoughts thousands per day about who you are, what will happen, what others think, what went wrong, and what might go wrong again. These thoughts can be uplifting, but more often they are rooted in fear, doubt, regret, comparison, or worry. And yet, most people never question this constant stream. They become fused with it, believing every thought, reacting to every judgment, becoming emotionally entangled with every narrative. But the great Zen truth, echoed often by Shi Heng Yi, is this: you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. When you begin your day with the affirmation, my thoughts do not define me, my awareness does, you are taking back the reins of your mind. You are separating your true self, your unchanging inner presence, from the chaos of mental noise. This is not just a motivational phrase, it is a foundational shift in identity. Thoughts are like clouds. They drift through the sky of the mind, some dark and heavy, others light and passing, but the sky is not the clouds. The sky remains untouched. It holds space for them all without being them. Similarly, your awareness is the sky, vast, still, and open, while your thoughts are temporary visitors. When you forget this distinction, you begin to identify with every negative or fearful thought. I'm not good enough. I'm stuck. I always fail. These are not facts. They are mental weather patterns shaped by past experiences, conditioning, mood, and environment. And when you believe them without awareness, you shrink your life to fit their limits. But awareness gives you freedom. When you observe your thoughts rather than becoming them, you reclaim choice. You can see a thought arise and say, interesting, that's not helpful, that's not true. I don't need to believe that today. This is the beginning of inner mastery. Shi Heng Yi teaches that awareness is like a sword. It cuts through illusion, and the first illusion it must cut is the belief that whatever I think must be real. True awareness does not judge thoughts. It does not argue with them. It simply sees them clearly, calmly, and returns to center. This is the heart of mindfulness, not to stop thinking, but to recognize that thoughts are passing, but your awareness is permanent. Thoughts may tell you you're failing, but awareness sees that you're learning. Thoughts may tell you you're alone, but awareness sees that you are deeply connected. Thoughts may say, I can't. Awareness says, let's see. In the Shaolin tradition, the mind is seen as both the greatest obstacle and the greatest tool. When untrained, it leads you in circles, but when observed with awareness, it becomes sharp, useful, and aligned. The morning is the best time to establish this clarity before your mind becomes crowded with opinions, demands, and noise. By affirming, my thoughts do not define me, my awareness does, you are anchoring yourself in the observer, the calm witness within the place where real transformation happens. It is in this still point that you begin to respond rather than react, to create rather than consume, to live rather than merely think about life. You are not broken because your mind is noisy, you are human. The practice is not to silence the mind, but to wake up to the truth that you are not the mind, you are the one watching it. And in that awareness, you find freedom, clarity, and peace. As the morning light touches your skin, remember that each affirmation is more than a phrase, it's a vow to yourself. You have spoken truth into being, sharpened your awareness, and opened your heart to the unfolding journey. Now, step into the world not as someone carrying burdens, but as someone radiating purpose. Let every breath be a reminder of your power. Let every action reflect your presence. And let every challenge you meet today be met with the clarity you've cultivated in these sacred moments. Go forth with steady courage, unshakable calm, and unwavering faith in the wisdom you carry within. Your day, your life is yours to shape. Speak your truth, live your truth, be the living embodiment of the 8 powerful things you tell yourself every morning.